And I think another part is that there's not enough oversight or involvement directly on ensuring that these kids get the right exposure.
Um, yeah. How you guys doing today?
But still,
Good. I'm glad that you guys are talking about business because I like that. Let me put it this way. The other lady was saying something about Trump and felony and being a felon, or black people. He's going to approach black men now and say, "Hey, you guys are felon now. You can vote for a felon because I'm a felon." Let me put it this way: a felon can contest for election, but state can prevent a felon from voting. He cannot vote in New York because he's a felon, but he can vote in other states. But he can be on the ballot in New York. So two different things. That's U.S. Constitution. It does not disqualify him from voting from being voted for. I'm not gonna vote for Trump because number one, I like his system of government, but I just don't like his personality. So I'm not gonna vote for Trump. And I'm not gonna vote for Biden either. But let me put it this way. I had a guy one time we were talking. He's a client of mine. So we're discussing about a neighborhood in Dallas called Highland Park. You guys do have it in Chicago as well. So he said that Highland Park is a very good neighborhood. I said, yeah. I told him that that's correct. I can't doubt that because the cheapest house in Highland Park is about $2 million. But then during the conversation, there is something he said that I never forgot. He said that paying that $2 million in Highland Park worth it. I'm like, but you can get the same house across the highway for $1 million. He said, but Highland Park comes with the opportunity. You are paying $2 million for a house, but the fact that you live in Highland Park, your children will never see poverty. You will never see poverty because of the connection that comes with that neighborhood, with the zip code. So the thing in our community as black people, not when I talk about black people, I'm not talking about the US, I'm talking about global, is that we have not mastered business yet. And one of the reasons why we haven't mastered business is because the white man wrote the rule of modern business and we play by that rule. Even though we have rules of modern business, which actually gave us zero poverty before the white man showed up. Africans had no poor people. They had ethnic issues, but there was no poor family. But when the West came, they created poverty because they moved people from the rural area to the city. Migration to the city creates poverty. But what I'm trying to say in essence is this: every black person in America can be wealthy, but few can create the general wealth. And the reason why that few are not creating the general wealth is because the few live in either the wrong neighborhood, they don't have the right association, and the ones that are supposed to be coming up to also get into that club are not listening to the ones or also create the fraternity to do that job. Somebody was saying earlier about that they have some program for black women. And I would tell you, as somebody that has been in this country for 20 years, one of the reasons why black people are still very, very poor is that the programs in America are not created for black men. They are mostly created for black women because of what? A black woman can never compete in the same level with a white man. White Americans don't create wealth for white women. They create wealth for white men, create opportunity for black women, but not giving the black man the chance to come up there to compete with the white man. Because they know in a competition between the white man and the black man will beat him hands down. The black man will neutralize the white man. So they don't want it because they've tried it before and they know that. So what I'm going to say in essence is this. As a youth, YouTube is a great opportunity for black people to start creating wealth, but it has to gravitate towards the black man, not towards the black woman. But because I understand that it's a very tough issue because a lot of black women in this country never grew up under the leadership of a black man. So it is going to be very difficult to really push that power. But I got to tell you, that's the only way black community can make it in this country. But another thing again, I will say one thing before I seize my guns or stop shooting is this. Understand that the white America, most of the words in this country is not created in this country. It was taken from other countries and brought here to be created. I keep saying this to Black Americans. You have to travel out of this country a lot. You got to go overseas. You got to start business overseas. You can go to China. You can buy goods in China, import into the America. The same white America that is telling you that Chinese ain't shit are the ones going to China to get things fabricated in China and brought into this country to sell. So you have to start getting out of your hood, getting out of your country clubs, getting out of your city life, getting out of your high towers and start traveling, start going outside, start seeking opportunities, start going to places, build and bring. Go ahead, guys.
And they said that I was crazy 2 weeks ago for telling people to get a second passport.
Go ahead, Ruth.
Actually, I agree with him on the point of why I am all for the Black woman, right? But everything you got to take everything with a grain of salt. For all of the programs to be centered around Black women, and you just have to, if you think a little bit more critically and push your ego to the side. I read somewhere that like if black women can, we can do anything, right? But if the funding was going to the Black men, it would also go to the Black men and women, because if he'll get married, right? And then we will do something, but after a while, if you pay attention, we get a little tired, we got a family to raise. And I think the whole point of what I was reading was like, a man can dedicate his whole life to being the CEO. He can neglect his whole family. And that's the way to get to the top. But we always have to struggle with being, raising our family and running that business. So you'll be a bad mom, but a great CEO. So it would be better for our men if we can come up with money, or we don't always have to go by what other people have for us. We can create our own stuff. So I hear what you're saying about joining the right group and the right circle and all that, but I'm not chasing no cloud of other people. I want us to create our own. Like, if we're talking about ownership, let's create our own clubs, create our own networks, create our own funding, fund our own politicians. That will make us stronger versus always trying to be accepted and then we're under the thumb of somebody else. So that's where I would say we have to invest a lot in the Black man, our Black sons. If not anything, if it's too much for us to give it to the Black man, then give it to your son, right? And invest in him and tell him he could be a CEO, and invest in his business, right? And see what they can do.